Today we're talking about preparing your home for sale. If you want your property to sell quickly and for more money, you need to know how to prepare your property for the market. But here's the thing, I'm not just going to tell you my top 3 home improvements to make, like paint, declutter, and improve your street appeal, because I'm sure you've heard that all before and clearly that's not helping you. What's really going to help you is to understand the buyer psychology behind why those top improvements work, and then the actionable steps of how you can use that psychology in preparing your own home for sale. So these are going to be the best 5 ways to really appeal to that buyer psychology and improve your property immediately. If you do all of these things, I guarantee your property will sell quickly and for more money. Now, I know this works because I started a renovation business specifically helping homeowners prepare their home for sale. And every time we achieved incredible results, selling in record time and for record prices. And these are the secrets I use for my sellers before I list any property on the market. Point number 1 is our first look into buyer psychology. Humans often make decisions with their heart based on emotions, as opposed to their head using logic and common sense. The whole reason for preparing your home for sale and making sure that it's presented in the best possible way is to appeal to a legitimate buyer, and so that they can form an emotional connection with your property. When they're scrolling through Zillow, looking at hundreds and hundreds of properties day after day, they tend to blur into one. So what do you think is actually going to make them click on your property, swipe through the photos, and actually bother to drive out on the weekend for an open home to view your home? Especially when buying a home, it's a huge investment and it often comes with a lot of mixed emotions like excitement, but also fear and anxiety. So you want them to be sure it's the right one. This is why you need to make sure they fall in love with your home and that it's an easy decision to make. If you've ever heard of Maslow's pyramid, it's a diagram of how humans prioritize their decisions based on a hierarchy of their needs. These stem up from basic necessities like food, water, and shelter, up to less pressing concerns like self-actualization. This diagram helps us to visualize the 2 to 3 largest basic human needs: food, water, shelter, safety, and relationships. Now, when we relate this to the purchase of a property, you can see how this encompasses everything we do in a home. We cook, nourish ourselves, build our families, rest, and find sanctuary. Needless to say, buying a home is a big deal emotionally. So you want to make sure that your home is appealing to those emotions. Which brings me to point number 2. What does it mean exactly to have an emotional connection with something? In this case, a home. It's associated with having a deep attachment to something, often connected to significant memories, experiences, and feelings like love, safety, peace, and a sense of belonging. So to attract your potential buyer, you want to start creating this narrative and connection right from when they first preview your property on their phone and either keep scrolling or click into it for more information. We've all heard the saying, first impressions count, or you never get a second chance at a first impression. And this couldn't be more true when it comes to property. Research shows it takes buyers just 8 seconds to form an impression when stepping inside a home, and even less when looking online. So for point number 3, the way we have control over this connection is to appeal to the buyer's 5 senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. I like to say there's a 6th sense as well, which I'll tell you about shortly. So let's go through each sense and see how it applies to a home. Firstly is sight. Buyers first see your property either driving past or usually online, and this is the first impression. So the photos need to be professional. Turn the lights on, open the windows, make sure there's no clutter, the beds are made, and please don't allow your realtor to take photos with their iPhone. If they're doing this, I probably wouldn't be using them in the first place. Your property needs to be visually appealing, and from the outside, this means tidy gardens, clean pavement, a sturdy roof, and neutral colors. Inside the house, the buyer needs to be able to see the space and imagine themselves in the home, meaning the walls, flooring, countertops, windows. If there's too much clutter in the way, how is the buyer actually going to visualize the space when all they're looking at is your stuff? The home should look light and bright to give the impression that the spaces are larger, which the buyer is going to perceive as value. Part of being visually appealing is also making sure that the house is absolutely spotless. The buyer doesn't want to feel like the home has been lived in. It should feel as like new as possible. I'm sure you've heard this one before as well, but depersonalizing your home is super important. Take down any of your family photos, hobby items, or little trinkets that just don't need to be there. Next is sound, and this can be tuned into during a showing or an open home by simply having music playing in the background. Now, you might not think touch has much to do with it, but it is just as important because humans can feel with more than just their hands. This can include the temperature of the house. Set the thermostat to something that's comfortable, whether it feels dusty and stuffy or clear and fresh. Buyers also like to grab things and look inside things, so make sure that everything is functioning well and easy to use, like drawers, cupboards, tap handles, as well as shower screen doors, fans, light switches. If they run their hand over the countertop, is it clean? Another way to emote feeling is to create atmosphere. And if you're doing all of these things, it will come naturally. But with the correct styling and lighting, you can create atmosphere. Turn on all the lamps and fans to create slow movement. While taste might not seem directly relevant when selling a home, it can play a subtle yet impactful role in creating an atmosphere that's going to appeal to the buyer's emotions and memories. A beautifully styled dining area or kitchen can help buyers visualize entertaining in that space or enjoying a beautiful meal. On the other hand, a cluttered and stale smelling kitchen can subconsciously make buyers think that the home is unkept. The sense of taste can influence a buyer's perception of warmth, desirability, and hospitality. Which brings me to the last of the 5 senses, smell. This one is obvious. Your home should smell nice. I was showing a property once, and as soon as we walked in the door, the buyer blatantly said, "Oh, I can smell it. These sellers have cats. It's a shame because I like the house, but you can never get that smell out. I'm not interested." Sometimes it's hard to smell the aromas of your own home when you're acclimated to them. I suggest going outside for a few minutes, and as you walk through the door, take a big whiff and see what it smells like, or ask somebody else to help you. You can appeal to the buyer's sense of smell by making sure there's fresh air inside, so open the windows, burn a candle, maybe bake some fresh cookies the morning before the open home, or brew some fresh coffee. These smells are associated with a sense of nostalgia and homeliness. The bathroom should smell clean too, and use a linen spray on the beds once they're made up. Now, I promised you not to give you a list of my top improvements, but if you want it, I've put a bonus link down below for my unique and creative ways to make your home stand out from the competition. Now, I also promised you a 6th sense, and what I put this down to is just your preparedness, the reassurance and the confidence that you give buyers by having your property well marketed, clean, repairs taken care of. If you have a confident agent and your property is priced right, the buyer is going to feel that, and they will have a sense that it's an easy purchase to make when everything just aligns. Coming into point number 4, you might be thinking, well, this is all well and good information, but what's the point in knowing all of this psychology stuff? When you go to list your property, likely your biggest asset on the market, you should have the feeling of complete clarity and confidence about the process, what's about to happen, and that you've done everything in your power to achieve the best possible results out of the sale. Some of the biggest reservations we hear from sellers as real estate agents are, "I'm scared it's not going to sell," or "What if we don't get any interest? What if it sits on the market forever? What if we don't get the price we want?" or "We need to sell in order to make our next move." Now, I will say that market conditions in your specific area does play a role. So I can't give you the exact time frame of how quickly your property is going to sell. But with the right understanding and effort on your part, you will be fully equipped to move forward with absolute certainty that your property is ahead of the competition. And if you do this, I guarantee you your property will appeal to and attract more buyers. You will get more confirmed showings and numbers through your open homes on the weekend. You'll spend less days on market, get a fair offer, and likely sell for a price that you were hoping for. Now, an additional key point that I want to mention is to achieve all of these incredible results, you are going to need a powerhouse of a realtor to help you with this. You will need to have the utmost trust and open communication with your realtor. And when you're both on the same page, you can each focus on your own roles and work together to achieve these incredible results. My recommendation for finding your realtor is to read their reviews, check out their website and their social media pages, interview a handful of agents by inviting them over to your home to meet them, and ask them some tough questions. Get them to do an evaluation on your home. While they're there, do they talk about themselves the whole time, or are they asking you questions about improvements that you've made on the property? When they give you a price, are they hiking it up just to win the listing, or are they showing you comparable properties and taking you through their pricing strategy on how they reached that price? Another way is to go and attend their open homes. How do they treat you as a buyer? Do they follow you up after the open home or answer their phone? I can't tell you how frustrating it is that as a fellow realtor, when you call another agent and they don't answer their phone and they don't even bother to call you back, I don't understand. But anyway, I digress. Now, the fifth best way to improve your property immediately is to utilize staging and styling. 90% of buyers cannot visualize themselves in a home if it's either vacant or cluttered. Your first thoughts here might be, well, we can't get it staged, we're still living in the property, or it's too expensive, we can't afford it. Most staging companies offer occupied home staging, where you can still live in and around the furniture. Or if the home is vacant, I always recommend to have it staged, even if it's just the living area and the master bedroom, for example. Staging is an investment, but there are plenty of afterpay options nowadays to make the payments easier. But it is absolutely worth it, because if you can invest in staging, often it will result in a return of 3 times over. For example, I worked on a 3-bed, 2-bath home that was lived in by an elderly woman for many years. We invested $8,000 for staging, a cleaner, and a removalist company. It took us 3 weeks to get the property ready for market, and it sold in the first weekend with multiple offers and for $45,000 over expected asking price. That's almost 6 times their investment. So those are my 5 best ways to improve your property immediately. This is the exact framework I use with my sellers before I list any property on the market. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe for any upcoming videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, cracky.